Aye. Do we need a motion on the other one, Kim?
I think so.
Well, we don't have anything to sign, so
Yeah.
just
it's
in-house or?
She said it was an FYI. Oh, yeah, there it is.
You
Yeah.
didn't know because there's a couple new folks and we don't get a lot of this.
But you're able to approve those yourself,
Mhm.
and it's good to know it's gonna be there.
You should always have.
As long as you're DD.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Kim has to sign that. Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Unless there's something else to do, I'll close the liquor control board meeting. Close. Wait a couple of minutes, get Chris out with it. Jennifer,
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
are you here for the Park Street closing?
Yes, I'm here for Park Street and then I have not been present at all. If you guys need anything on the EMD side as well, if you have anything to hit me with or need resource or anything.
We actually met with someone
Okay.
and
Is not responded to my.
That's how well that went.
I am hoping that
Yeah.
he had said that he was out of town,
okay,
so
No worries.
I'm just hoping that's what it.
I was kind of telling Leo, just because Leo comes from the fire department as well, I was just kind of talking about when an emergency happens and like some towns choose to make like their fire chief also.
The
their
recording has stopped.
okay.
which works great until you have an emergency. And then it can be a little bit dicey. And I did tell Leo, I said, in fact, we do have some people around that I know that have got some expertise in some of these things. And that Lisa has got a really good matrix as far as,
I
you know,
do for the boots on the ground kind of thing, just because that's what we know.
Right.
But and I mean, I can bring it back up again. We discussed all this.
Mhm.
The EMD is a very finite
Need a point person.
3-day, kind of thing. And well, that's great. We don't have one. We need one. We really need the under the umbrella. I think that's what we kind of called it. So
are you moving forward with trying to update the LEMP in the meantime?
that's what the EMD is going to do for us.
Okay. Because,
And be the EMD and sign off on everything so that
you know,
Denny gets off the hook, which he'd love, I think. But what I assumed was the EMD position is not anywhere near what he told me that the responsibilities are. I wanted somebody start to finish to kind of do what I was doing, like right to the end.
Mhm.
And that's not
Mhm.
the job of the EMD.
No.
He was very clear.
Mhm.
So
As he interprets it. Right.
I
It really
pushed really
depends
hard,
on-
Chris.
On who you get.
Right, absolutely, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. So anyway, learning experience again, but yeah, we had a nice meeting.
Well, there's the paperwork side and then the real important
and
side
then the
is
important side is.
actually having, being
Yes,
prepared.
execution, yeah.
Yeah, and
Because we're
execution.
not where we need to be. for
So
the
when we're
next-
talking at 3 o'clock in the morning and the water's rising and
Right.
this is, so-and-so is texting both Lisa and I, and we're like, okay, we're ready, it's all right. But
All good.
Well, we
in,
need a
in the
team.
meantime, though,
Team
Yeah.
leader.
I almost have Christmas and Weston kind of control, and so if you can't put somebody in that position
Mhm.
right away, we can at least start filling in those check boxes on that piece of paper, and then it can be submitted. However it needs to
Didn't
be
we do
submitted.
that? We did fill out the absolute bare bones of what we had to do to be in compliance.
Okay, so we have one now.
Right, but I want the book.
Oh, yeah.
About 7:30, we'll call a meeting to order. road foreman's not present.
No, on behalf of the road foreman, though, under number 1, he told me that he spoke with Pike Industries
Mhm.
and they
This
gave
meeting
him
is
a-
being recorded.
and they reduced the price to get some of his business.
Mhm.
And it was, I believe it was less than it was last year. So, there's the quote there. They have pulled some material from Pike. But I do believe there's a document that needs to be signed for the exemption for the, bookkeeping on their end. So
That's the second page.
page 2.
Oh, there's actually one on the first page too.
Yeah. You weren't here, Denny. You weren't here for that, so for this
Yeah.
whole thing, so I think Jeff ended up signing off on it.
Okay,
So I think what they're looking for now is the exempt certificate completed, which we can give to Kim.
okay, so you want me to sign this or let Jeff sign it as road?
This is gonna go to Kim. It's just a formality.
Okay.
So we're good on this?
We don't have to do anything. We don't have to do anything. Jeff took care of it. They needed to
Okay.
get winter sand since the price was so good.
Right.
And so you'll see a
Okay.
bill coming up.
Great, Sam. Not mixed with salt or anything. Screens.
Number 2, changes to the agenda.
Do we want to move up Park Street with these guys?
We don't need to, but
You guys are,
we're hanging out.
She likes seeing
Okay.
the name.
yeah, okay. Works.
All right, number 3, public comment. Here and be none. We'll review the minutes of October 22nd.
The only thing I had was on number 5, it was Blue Cross Insurance. Everything else was pretty straightforward.
Need a motion?
I would make a motion that we accept the minutes of October 22nd, 2024.
I'll second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, sir. Now we have minutes of the liquor control meeting. Motion.
Oh, motion that we accept the minutes of the liquor control meeting, October 22nd, 2024.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move on to number 5, that's the fisherman recycling coordinator for Londonderry Solid Waste.
Thanks for having me. Wanted to update you on some of the changes that are going to be happening. You might have. Or you might have read that.
Only a couple of them.
Right.
So annual stickers, resident up $10 to 15, and the commercial stickers are going up to $40 from 25. We're going to start charging for recycling. So when Act 148 was first passed, it was mandated that we recycle certain materials and could not charge for it. Then I think around 2018, that changed and said we could start. We haven't. But just to highlight, we need to do this is in 2023, it costs over $69,000 to recycle. So charging one punch of $2 every time you visit the recycling center is not going to take a big edge off of that. But I think it helps in changing the culture of people thinking that recycling is free. It's not. And one of the parts of that is that the recycling market has been really down. So two things that we do get some revenue from, which is the cardboard and scrap metal gets eaten up with the haul charges. So it's just not a pretty picture. The hardware store decided they did not want to sell us our punch cards anymore. So I was beating my head trying to figure out how we can do it because we only had 2 commercial outlets. Other than the 5 town offices and ours are all over the board. We had the Weston Marketplace, which is no longer there, and Londonderry Hardware, which do not want to sell the stick anymore. So we are going to get sometime late November a vending machine that the market in Londonderry said we can have in there as long as their employees have nothing to do with it. So that's the solution, the only solution I can come up with. If you have any ideas, I would love to hear it.
You put the machine down.
Well, we don't have good internet there. And I've been talking to big places like Starlink, and I'm looking at the charges for getting that system in place, and it's buy the materials to set it up, and then it's $120 a month charge, and it got just too much, And
Can I ask why they don't sell the punch cards there in general? Maybe like Keith do it. I know he's kind of off in one building and Steve is in another building. Is there any reason why those things can't be? Because Keith's not punching, right? Because
he will be.
He will be.
With the
recycling.
The recycling, yeah.
A few years ago, we did like every town is, and the auditor said, get the cash out of the transfer station. And if you go there,
Got it.
and they're handling cash,
It's hard.
you know
Yeah,
why it's a
tricky.
bad idea.
just if you're going there
I know.
and you get four punches left and you need 5 punches, if we even go someplace else to get a card is,
I get it. I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
They don't have systems that work on cellular.
So I have found. I'm happy.
It's probably not very good service either there.
No, it isn't. And I talked to Comcast and I talked to Fidium Fiber. And, you would think they would want to make a sale, but they have not been good about this one. Yeah, so I mean, if anybody has any other thoughts or ideas, I would really shoot. The other thing is that we are hoping to install another compactor at the transfer station just for recycling. That would mean we would go to a zero sort system, which would make a lot of people happy. So you won't be separating your paper from containers. And it will also, there's a cost to buying the compactor, putting in a concrete pad, upgrading the electric. But it will save us $23,000 a year in charges, so the payback period won't be that long.
So we won't have to separate recycling in the starting this December, that time frame.
No, because we started out too late and pouring the concrete slab and building the canopy and all that. We're gonna wait
Right.
to do that. Yeah, I think that's all the happiness I have. But I do want to ask you, and I'll tell you why in a minute, who is your emergency manager?
This is a half court
Denny.
shot. I get extra. points.
It's Denny as of today. I'll teach him to go away for a couple of weeks.
So the reason you finish, the reason I ask is because I am responsible for writing the solid waste implementation plan for 5 years. And when we had the flood, we established a temporary staging area for hazardous waste to have our certification amended. So if and when we have another emergency, again, but part of the solid waste plan, I have to tell the state who is the emergency manager for all. Your name will be a statement.
It already is.
Oh,
We can note
My name's in more places up there than I want.
lock that in, that we can,
I can
Date
work
her.
on purging your existence out of the state records.
I think Kim.
Well, I have 2 questions. Has any money come back to FEMA for the cost of the waste that we were told we would get a portion of that? We spent 69,000 last year on our portion. And I'm in very
Right.
and part of that was the FEMA expense.
We had somebody working with all of our information for FEMA, and we did get a reimbursement, so that will go into the revenue section of what this whole thing takes. So that will be divided amongst the 5 towns, just like the expenses.
So is that going to hit in 24 or is that going to probably?
You know, I'm not sure if we got the check yet,
Okay.
so
I'll check
that's a
with
good
FEMA.
question.
Okay.
I will ask that.
No, the check's in the mail.
Yeah.
Speaking as a public person, not a public person, as a person who uses the transfer station and has to recycle a lot, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing about it, but my perspective is, yes, people need to know that recycling isn't free, but it's more important that they do recycle, that it doesn't land on on the sides of our roads and elsewhere. I get a lot of
Or
complaints.
just go in the trash.
Or just go in the trash, which the state has mandated we reduce that. So now this is a potential of causing that reduction to be offset by recycling that shouldn't be trash. I just felt it was fair to have it come to each town as an expense to be spread across everyone as a portion of our budget and part of our spreading it amongst everyone, as opposed to the people who quite often can't always afford the trash tickets. I hear a lot of complaints on my public side about the cost. So I know it's only 1 punch instead of maybe 2, but it's still going to cause people to have to spend a lot more money when they could have just had it in as part of their overall tax. You're looking at me like you're puzzled. Am I not making sense?
No, you're not.
Well, no, we pay as a town a big chunk of money to the Londonderry transfer station. And last year, because of the damage and the flood debris costs, it was 69,000. The prior year, it was somewhere around 58,000. But that total expense to us is net whatever revenue they can get on whatever recycling money they can possibly get. So that 48,000 of the 69,000 was spread amongst all the taxpayers. The smaller expense per household than for the people who are going to be using it and who will now be charged for recycling. And that's a major disincentive for recycling.
Yeah, with, and I sort of agree with Kim on that standpoint, on the recycling, and you're probably beyond the point of discussion or making changes, but I would have rather have seen it be paid by the town, spread out over the tax base. Or, why not, raise the annual ticket to $20. You're gonna go up by 5, go up by 10.
Well,
And just cover the expense that way, instead of nickel and diming me to death. As I, fill my in my recycling bins,
so I think that, when Act 148 was passed, they went to what's called a variable rate pricing or pay-as-you-throw system. And that was to incentivize people to understand that the more they get rid of, the more it's going to cost them at the transfer station. So it used to be, and actually we've been doing the pay-as-you-throw for a long time, that all of the expense of running the solid waste entity went into your taxes. And the state said, no, we want people to know if they're throwing away 9 bags, that they're gonna pay for 9 bags to give them incentive to reduce the trash that they were throwing away. In good years, for as far as recycling, when there is a great recycling market, and we get revenue, that is spread amongst the 5 towns. The small fee, the $2 one punch, puts more of the, I'm going to use the word burden, more of the expense for recycling with people that are actually using it. And make no mistakes, that transfer station doesn't produce money through all of the charges. And also I get a couple of grants that go into that mix also. And all of the rest of the money that's not covered by what we take in there is spread among all of the taxpayers.
Understood. But I would still rather see the expense for the recycling spread on just as opposed to it being a one-off. I'm tempted to use it for landfill. I mean, why would I just have to go and spend more money? I happen to have a great place for landfill right now. So it to me just feels like a disincentive, and people are going to do less recycling now that they have to physically pay for it. I get the reason for trying to say 9 bags of trash. Let's incentivize you by charging you for that, and maybe you'll come up with 5 bags. I understand that, but the fact is we have so much recycling that I hardly have trash. I have recycling. It's just ludicrous. By the time you put all your recycling into the back of the truck, you hardly have trash.
So that's good. So that's
Well, it is, but now I'm going to get charged for doing what I've been doing all.
But if you bring less trash to the transfer station and have a whole truckload of recycling, and you're only paying $2 as opposed to people saying, I'm gonna just throw it away, and they have that whole truckload of trash, it's gonna cost them a lot more than $2.
The point is, we weren't paying for that recycling, and now we are.
You were in a way because
Well, we were
in
in our
yearly fee the town pays
right.
down there, you were. And I think it boils down to the situation of how many hairs do you want to split to get the same amount of money?
Well, I see her point, but I heard a complaint on the other side, which is, what about all the people who don't use the transfer station? Maybe they have a dumpster, maybe they caretake and they bring all the stuff back to them. Or them doing something different and then having to chip in somebody else not doing a dumpster. So I had heard a complaint the other way, so. Yeah.
That fee also covers whatever the town is bringing back. So it's debris from.
This year, my person is gonna charge me extra for the recycling too, so.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
I still have a dumpster. No, it's just kind of a moot point. We paid for the punch card, now we're gonna pay more for the punch card. Because we paid for the sticker, and now we have to buy punch cards to recycle. And the dumpster that we have attached, the same.
Oh, is that a different card, Esther?
No.
No, okay, so you won't be able to keep track of whether the $2
It
punch
was for
went to
this or for
recycling
that,
or.
yeah.
Mhm.
Quick question. I understand, you know, how you're trying to distribute it to the end users, but people are lazy. And well, first, we don't like change, even if it's good change, we don't like change. Do you think that this will be reevaluated in, say, a year or so, if for some reason we start seeing a whole lot more trash on the sides of the road? Because, I mean, I pick up recyclables all the time, and they're the iced teas and the Budweisers, you know, we can't blame that on the tourists. And, yes, right, and honestly, I think people are just gonna toss it right out their window, or toss it in their yard, or, so, just,
That's what we hear about everything. We charge for tires. You see people dumping tires on the side of the road, but most of the people don't do that. Right? And it's the same argument we hear no matter what. We'll just, people are gonna throw it out. And that probably does happen, but the way it seems to be is that 20% of the population will recycle and do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. 20% of the population won't do it no matter what you say to them. It's the 60% in the middle that we're trying to sort of enlist, right? And do the right thing.
just suggesting maybe a year from now, we could just kind of reevaluate and say, hey, did this kind of work? Did this not? Where are the numbers?
I don't see why we couldn't. And again, I'm open
Just
to
an
any
idea.
ideas. Great. Yeah, and we'll see how it works. I don't expect that this $2 charge is going to have a huge impact anyway. And I think it's hard to change the culture of trash and recycling. And I just think this is one of the ways to make people more aware of all of the systems, which is expensive. Recycling, unfortunately, it didn't start that way. We used to really make some money, and we don't now. And the other thing is that the company we contract with has been buying up smaller haulers, so we have less choice. When I send out an RFP, my response is usually one, right? So we're kind of stuck in that respect too.
Thank you.
Just sad, yeah.
Thank you.
So anybody have any more questions? No?
It's a thankless job.
It's a thankless job,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But, and you know what, my email is recycle@londonderrybt.org, and I'm happy to respond to anything you have, so feel free.
I think I just want to echo what Kim said about finding out about the FEMA funds for the
Yeah.
transfer station. We have to keep track of stuff in a year's time, and Kim and I have been walking the line.
There, it could just come down as a reduction. I hope it-
Hope so.
Yeah.
With your,
So there's a cap of, anytime we go over $750,000 in federal funding reimbursement, like FEMA and all the stuff coming in by the state for FEMA, counts toward a different audit that we'd like to avoid, a single audit, and I'm sure Tina's all aware of it.
A lot of time.
Yours might be larger. Ours isn't. So we don't want any more than $49,000
you don't want
to
money
come
from FEMA?
in, no more than 749.
Yeah, that should be enough.
Your calendar and your fiscal, not your civil monkey and wrench.
Yeah, I don't know what you're up to, but I don't. think
Nothing
it's-
bad.
I don't think it's gonna make a big dent.
Well, all it's supposed to do for us is reduce the overall fee we pay. So we paid the 69 this year, and I'm really hoping we're not paying that again next year.
Yeah,
Because that should have, whenever it comes in, should offset whatever our fees are.
yeah, I don't think it's a huge amount, but I will find out. I have to say, Steve did a great job of keeping track of what was flood debris. So we were able to really document it, and that helped get whatever it was that we're gonna get. And I'll find out if we've been paid this year.
Okay,
Thanks, Esther.
All righty.
Thanks again.
bye-bye.
Number 6, insurance. According to the minutes, somebody was supposed to ask the employees if they preferred or their opinion on
Yeah, did Huey give you? Okay,
No, and he never called me.
okay, so I believe Hugh's position was just stop the flip-flopping. It's kind of a pain in the butt to go back and forth, back and forth. And I think at the last meeting, I mentioned, a really good experience with Blue Cross Blue Shield last year for Jeff and myself. And so I think I'd like to weigh in.
I'm your treasurer. I just see it as a really big expense. Blue Shield. And, it's almost the amount of a whole salary for Tom. I thought it was around $35,000 that you had a potential of saving. If we went to
24.
MVP. So that's still a lot of money.
It's a huge amount of money, but just remember the year before. Mhm,
Oh, that's how much more we're gonna pay.
that's what she just said.
No, well,
24,
no, we're gonna
if we stay.
we stay.
we
So
stay.
our potential savings, if we went to MVP for the exact same plan, potential savings is $10,000 down here, assuming the
Oh.
the HRA estimates are correct. And if we went down to a silver plan, then
Yeah.
we'd be saving 20,000.
I don't think I looked it up, but I think MVP was high the year before we did this. And we had the same scenario where one was really high, the other one, it's like 20% and like 15% or something for Blue Cross. And so I think they sort of, this year it's this one, the next year MVP catches up. So my concern was what is MVP going to look like next year? Are we going to be playing the game, trying to bounce back to Blue Cross again January 1st, which it's not as seamless to bounce. So
I thought it was a greater savings than.
mhm.
I thought, so I'll have to look at it.
Do you want to see this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's another savings of another 9,000 on top.
And we, if we went to a silver plan and increase the HRA functionality. Yeah, we don't do anything like that.
And if
If we
you,
did switch to MVP, we get that.
okay,
We go down to switch and go down to silver.
right,
That's assuming this.
Yeah, but those
utilization rate.
deductibles are awful high.
Because this is, here it has it uses 27,000. Because we were higher. So that's a guess.
I think it's worth something not to jerk the employees around in terms of changing plans back.
Yeah, but this is not a 1-year decision. This is just gonna ramp up year after year after year,
Right.
double digits. We are gonna need to look at the bottom line at some point.
Well, I think
But
bottom line is the state created this problem years ago. Because used to be several insurance companies in the state of Vermont,
Yeah,
and then they kicked all but 2 or 3 of them out. So the state needs to open the doors again, get more competition. Plus, I'm wondering if the pendulum's gonna start to swing the other way. Where the used to be employees paid a little bit of their insurance.
just have that.
And now it's starting to swing the other way where, full insurance is big burden.
So this town pays 100% on this?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is unusual
but
So,
not,
on the private work sector.
very-
Yeah,
not so much municipal.
Yeah.
The municipal sector tends to have richer benefits, not always as high of a wage, but good benefit. I'm okay with switching to MVP. Just, I'm,
I have MVP and I'm totally happy with 3 or 4 years, but
I just think it's gonna continue to go up, and I think that Blue Cross Blue Shield will continue to be the higher of the two. I'm okay if you switch to the other plan and save potentially 20 grand, but that's entirely your decision. No, I might be alone on that. I'll just leave it.
We'll see. We'll see what the road crew does if you.
so this just covers 4 people, 5 people.
And family. So, an employee plus one, we have 2 at that, 1 at.
Well, we
Oh,
have
yeah, you
One
do.
single,
one family.
2 single.
two singles,
Two
one
singles.
family, and one employee.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah.
Yeah, at the bottom, yeah.
But that's. Employee plus one should stop January 1.
We have 2 of them,
Oh, right.
2 singles and 1 family. And the family cost, I'm just stunned.
Hmm.
So,
And so
I mean,
the town pays.
Yeah.
Whole family thing, so it doesn't matter whether it's 1 person or a family.
and there are a lot of towns that do that. Now, whether that starts to be nibbled away is,
Well, like one person explained it to me, he used to work for town, said when I first went to work, the pay was lousy, the benefits were good.
Mhm.
Benefits kept up, then all of a sudden the pay got up to where it should be, so we got a real good deal. That's the way one person explained it to me, but for years, they were on the short end of the stick, either with pay or with benefits. And
usually it's one way or the other. It doesn't, one's gonna give. Not, anyway,
so does a decision have to be made tonight?
Yes, it does. We pushed this off 2 weeks ago to just sort of get feedback from the road crew and have a chance for Kim to kind of weigh in. So
Well, I wasn't here to participate in, so I'm gonna ask you 3 to make a motion and go one way or the other.
I'm gonna make, I'll make a motion, see where it goes. I make a motion that we stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield for the renewal period of 2025.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
We're buying, we're siding with the employee, I think, on this right here as opposed to fiscally. But I think we have so few that, and I don't think the pay differential's that great that we shouldn't.
Again, I
Give 'em
think
a
we're
good deal.
getting a good deal
I do too.
on the other side of things. That was my take. And that's what I took away from it. I understand, Kim, I get it. You're treasurer. I'm a money person too, but
it's creeping.
it is what it is. There are other towns that are offering dental and all these other things. We're just giving this. So I
I'm
think,
not.
Yeah.
I'm.
We can
fine.
offer the exact same. Save $1,000. The only downside is they have to switch. $10,000.
Mhm.
It's not crazy money, but it's not chump change. We've argued over less around this table.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's $2,000 more. Less per family, per unit. Per year. I don't know.
All right, it's been motion made and seconded. All those in favor,
I,
opposed? I guess, yeah, I just get it.
Well, either way, thank you very much.
Well, I also. should
you're
probably-
worth it.
That we should probably start thinking about notifying the employees that in the future, if these outrageous increases keep coming, they're gonna have to start. getting-
I'd rather see you go to MVP. I mean, that's an easy answer.
Yeah, then we'd have to switch if it goes up next year.
Well, it's gonna go up next year. If it goes up by 25%, then we should really have a full-on discussion.
Yeah.
She put town plan on here and I didn't get a chance to talk to Jim, but, I think that we should have just a night that we discuss the town plan. It's a, what, 183 pages or something?
Yeah. could use
I
more
think
time
that
to
we need a
digest
night to go through it because there's
And just consolidate all of our individual inputs and
Mhm.
quite a few
Changes.
changes that
Yeah.
need to be made.
Was anybody at the public meeting? Howie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Tim? Okay.
I was
Everybody
there.
was? Okay.
I was
Did
there.
anybody take notes on changes that the public had? But,
Yeah, we can
There's
go
a
on
page in here from
the Email them.
oh, I-
Meredith Larson, sent a bunch of
right.
notes in.
Oh, I never
And-
read that.
They should be at the back of the, I believe.
I still owe you some, I just have not, it's been busier, I read through it, I couldn't make the meeting, I have another one. And, there are a few factual errors, like something simple like listing town employees and appointed positions, the forest fire warden and the assistant forest fire warden were not included in that. For example, I mean, it's just small things, but things that we should try to have correct.
Mhm.
I just haven't had a chance to get them.
Is
There's
this what
missing-
you're talking about?
There's misinformation. in
Oh,
there.
you vey.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that one
actually read it.
paragraph in there said it was 9 crashes between the two, at the 2 intersections, the one on Chester Mountain.
Mhm.
There weren't 9 crashes there. They were all on the park. But the way they made it down, they're at the intersection because behind the scenes, people want T intersections, which is about the worst thing you can do in this town. So, you know, you can't, I don't like this misleading information.
Who prepared this? Did,
For Meredith Larson.
oh,
She did.
okay,
that's me.
okay, okay.
But
I
we
thought
also
this was-
have notes from the.
There were
meeting
also
the other
notes.
night.
I emailed the
And you-
minute,
and-
Okay, okay,
I didn't put them
okay, okay. This looked like Jim's handwriting for a
It
quick
is.
second.
because he got them first.
Okay,
Color
all,
copies.
it's all coming
All right,
together now.
let's schedule December 3rd. At 7:30, it's a Tuesday night. To work on the town plan.
Of our normal.
No,
No,
Yeah.
that's a separate-
that's an
time, Debbie?
additional meeting, yeah.
we can make
7:30.
it 7 o'clock.
Yeah, that'd be good.
7 o'clock, yeah. Better.
You will have to post it, but it's basically us working on the plan. We're not. Not really looking for public comment yet. Because if we make changes, we'll have.
And there will be changes, so there will be air.
And then before we have our hearing, we will have to notify the planning commission. I forget how many days in advance, so they can have time to adjust and come back with their.
Got it.
Oh. Number 8.
that is the resolution that Jim wanted the board to sign, to further the studies,
The Rivers Project.
the rivers.
Yeah, yeah. And this does not commit us to anything. This is just allowing them to continue
Continue.
on what they're doing.
I have a couple problems with it. Number one, when this first started, I asked Jim a few questions about it, and he point blank told me it was not a selectman issue, and we were not to concern ourselves with it. So now here they are asking for our support blessing. I take that as a serious slap in the face. I'm sorry. Number two, I've lived here all my life, and the dam needed work. Gary Root spearheaded the project. We replaced the boards on the backside of the thing, and I'm not too crazy about having the dam removed. So I myself, I would not, that's what you guys can do, what you wanna do.
Well, this doesn't talk anything about the dam. though.
Yeah, this isn't the dam. It does not have anything to do with
This
that.
is only, yeah, the dam is private property and a separate, kind of a separate.
Yeah, the WCA already moved this same language for the dam the other night.
Oh, they did, similar to continue the,
Exact same
Development,
language.
yeah.
It's one project,
Mhm.
two entities.
right,
Right,
and our entity is the bridge.
right.
Right, well, for the
Which is what
purposes of
what
this,
thing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. I make a motion to approve this resolution to have the river project continue to study bridge modification for the purposes of flood resilience.
Now, we have to have a second before we discuss it.
Hmm.
So I'll second that, just so we can get to the point of discussion here on, so what happens if we don't approve this?
Okay, first Jen had a question. Look,
Well,
let me, go ahead, Jen.
I'm not a Weston resident.
You're on the committee, so
I am on the
speak
committee
as if-
and I can't represent the committee. What I will say is that
okay,
back to you know where I'm going on this.
no, but, so the Flood Resiliency Committee did a study of section here. We then spoke to the Rivers Committee,
Which is region, which is Wyndham Region.
Wyndham Regional, yeah, Alyssa Sabato, and the Rivers Project, which kind of ties Weston's projects into Londonderry's projects, into Jamaica's projects. That was the goal. One bigger project serving 3 towns. What we do here affects what happens to Londonderry. That was the theory of the Rivers Project. So we, Weston Resiliency Committee, got ahead of the Rivers Project and we did a D&K study. The study is done and it found that modifications to the bridge plus modifications to the dam, albeit remove, whatever. There were several different options that we can do. 1, 2, both, or none. And in order for Wyndham Regional to move forward with the Rivers Project, which is where the money's going to come from, the town has to sign this resolution. This is why Jim brought this in front of us today. I don't like things coming at us the day before we have to make a decision. I definitely don't agree with that. However, there is Wyndham Regional, Stone Environmental, everybody is waiting for a piece of paper that says, are you okay to move forward to the next phase? And that's kind of what this is.
It's almost like it's a trick question. That's the way I look at it.
I
It's
understand.
Because why would they have to ask if we're not making a commitment that we can't back out?
Mhm.
It's bureaucratic paperwork.
Well, yeah, I can see, I mean, I'm all into bureaucracy. I know how they work really well. But them where I can get. And so that's why I want it, and we probably don't know what would happen if we voted no.
If we vote no to sign this,
Yeah. Would they stop? Would they go away? Or would it then cost us money? And that we'd be cut out of the funding flow.
Well, the
Um,
advantage of this,
for
as I
this.
understand it, is they're gonna pay 100%. We decide to do something with the bridge later, even if we get a grant, we're gonna have a matching dollar
Eight-
amount of
80, 20, 90, 10.
20, whatever it is.
right?
And that's gonna be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And we don't have to do anything. We did a small study that said changing the bridge in some way makes some degree of
But not
difference.
all the difference,
Right,
not all the.
so that's the catch 22 that we
Right.
are in right
Neither
now.
one of those solutions is a zero sum.
Right,
fix.
so if we hadn't done the study and we said, okay, Wyndham Regional, you need to do your study, we would be giving them permission to do their study at this point. They need to do more studying. This was a very minute piece of a bigger pie. So,
Because,
So we're
may I
approving.
just step in, because Lisa missed the last meeting that we did have when we presented all this information in the middle of October. And I zoomed in and it's my own bad that we were not able to get back together, but I was a little bit frustrated because we had been told that some of the above town have some flood mitigation above town could A, make a difference, B, make a difference, B, be more likely to be approved in this 100% grant process if it was put together with the bridge and the dam stuff. So that if the whole package was put together, this is what the flood experts in WRC told us several times on several occasions. And then at that particular meeting, all of a sudden, all that went away and nope, that's not what we talked about previously. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I've got.
No, I remember those discussions.
And, right, and I've got notes and notes and notes, so there was a little bit of maneuvering kind of behind the scene to strip this back down to just those two projects in town. Whereas, had we maybe been talking like, I talked to some local area experts, where if we were maybe able to do some stuff upstream as well, plus the flood management people said, oh, that's a great idea, we could do, I'm just trying to. Because this.
Is this the rivers, at least the regional? I mean, who was dialing it back?
That is the consensus from the WFRC as they were talking to the engineers on the line with the DNK study. But even the engineers during that conference call said, well, doing stuff upstream would obviously make a difference.
Well, the DNK study was limited in scope.
It was.
This has a broader scope.
Correct. And that's why we tried to get some of the upstream stuff in there too. Trying to, the goal of the Flood Resiliency Committee is not to be able to make Weston flood or flood, et cetera, but the goal was to use these resources and do the best we can and take advantage of this 100% money and do it kind of at one shot. So I have a little bit of.
I took Jim Lindell up into Greendale and pointed out a spot for a flood control dam on Greendale Brook. Probably eliminate heavy percentage of the flooding he built on government land, and deaf ears been turned towards it.
Well, it's not Jim's decision.
No, but he could have passed it along, and I'm not happy. Like I said, I asked questions in the beginning and I was told it wasn't a select board thing and to stay out of it. And now we're asked to sign this and I'm not happy about it.
I was not able, Lisa and I were kind of approaching it from a similar standpoint because she spent a lot of time out on the roads, doing all of this damage control kind of stuff. And I was trying to look at a comprehensive kind of thing for the whole town, not just that 1,000 feet of the DNK. You're
Yeah,
absolutely
I mean,
right.
that was always my assumption from
But-
the Rivers project, from the initial meetings that I went to, that they were looking at it
Well,
comprehensively.
yes, and so we had some of the people on the Rivers group, the water experts, who said, oh, that's a great idea, outside of the DNK study. And then now all of a sudden, we're kind of back to so there's just some scope
No, I
changing.
think there's
that
a
I'm just not sure.
misunderstanding that the DNK study was very limited in scope.
Mhm.
And this is broader in scope.
It is, but the DNK study seems to be really driving what is now going to be pushed forward for the Rivers project with the town. So it kind of, the scope got a little
Well,
changed in there.
But if this, if now the handoff to the Rivers project results in additional modeling and possibilities of adding in the upstream pieces. I just don't know if that's the case or not, or we just, hinting in, this two-piece solution to a bigger flood problem.
It was my understanding that in order to bring Wyndham Regional in with Stone Environmental, the DNK was just one small piece of a study. They need to do their own study. We happen to get ahead of them, completely separate. We just picked a little section. When I say we, I say the committee, the Weston Flood Resiliency Committee. We picked a small section, and that's what that DNK study said, was that benefit from removing the dam, benefit from raising and widening the bridge. And I don't think anybody has to say yes, no, or maybe. I think what this is saying, if I read it correctly, in this phase, Wyndham Regional and Stone Environmental coordinate with the town to finalize preliminary hydraulic and hydrologic modeling, preliminary bridge replacement design, cost estimates for final design and project implementation, and a benefit cost analysis. If the cost is more than the benefit, then they don't do it. And the HMGP, which is the program where this pot of money is,
Hazardous mitigation plan.
You have to go to them with an application, and it has to say, we want to look at this, that, Londonderry, Jamaica, and put it all together kind of as a big.
But some of us
big-
feel that there's this and that, and there's other. And I don't see other.
I agree with you. I don't see it.
Would you be willing to, because absolutely, I understand how this needs to be moved forward, would you be willing to say yes and also include possibilities of some upstream studies as well, or that you recommend or you would like to see as a town or something like that? Can you do that?
I didn't have a conversation with Jim after he spoke with Alyssa. Wyndham Regional needs this. Rivers Project needs this to study further. That's how Jim proposed it to me. Am I wrong?
Can't you add an addendum to that? Like,
I didn't write
signing
the
it.
resolution, so.
You sign it, but you put your little piece in it. It's on paper. You have it down.
Yep.
They look at it and then they could come back to you and say, well, wait a minute, or they could clarify your questions. But if you add the language there that you signed, you at least give yourself that gap to resolve what seems to be confusion.
I'm not trying to tank anything. I'm just trying to make sure that.
Understood.
I'm not trying to be a jerk.
I'm just interpreting it slightly different than,
Let's say
How-
hydrologic and hydraulic modeling. That's not specific to the bridge. That's,
Well, in the Rivers project, the way it was, the latest meeting really concentrated on only the two features in Weston. To those two features, and really kind of cut out anything above.
And
And below.
Which I think is worthy of a cost benefit analysis. I'm not saying you have to do anything, but I'm saying, hey, could you look at this? Because we were told previously this was a valuable thing to look at, and I don't understand by the water experts, not are necessarily. So I don't understand how this changed all of a sudden from, like Howie says, we had, that was said in these meetings, and all of a sudden it changed. I don't see where it changed. Still water.
Yeah, I really wish I had heard it from Alyssa directly. I would feel,
Megan said, oh, yeah, great idea. And then all of a sudden it's gone. What happened?
Coming from Melissa.
Yes, yes. They said you are more likely to get, if we're going to do something like that, you're more likely to get it all approved and put it all together in the package. So I just think it's worthy of a comment. It's worthy of.
Yeah, I mean, we've already got a study on the bridge. We want to have that in there too. The upstream stuff.
And they
makes
were
a lot
doing
of
some
sense.
measurements, they were doing some stuff, I don't know, just like 2 weeks ago, they were in taking some water analyses, whatever, at the
They were,
dam. Yes. I just couldn't make it.
yeah, I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage. I did not hear this language come directly from Melissa. I don't know how it came to be. I do know that Jim wrote it based on his conversation with Alyssa, but
Public Rivers comment meeting day when everybody was there, and Tom
mhm,
spread out his maps and looked at all of the, 100 and 155 and Lake Linville, and like, oh, wow, look at this. That's a great idea. And if we're going to pursue, let's do, and all of a sudden, poof, that's gone. And I just,
yeah, I think I would feel really good if Jim was able to explain whatever conversation he had with Alyssa to get to this resolution. I'm not comfortable amending it to add anything up or down. I just don't write these kinds of things. So
but this is now out of the hands of the Weston Flood Resiliency Committee.
I think
Yes, this is now, that we've already
letting-
had that handled. Right? Or is that
well,
what this is?
I think that there's two parts to that. I think that Jim needed this signed as well as the WCA to sign off to let Rivers and
Do their
WRC
studies.
and do their studies. That's kind of what I thought it was. I am reading it slightly different than everybody's reading it slightly different. So I think you're right. It is very specific, but I don't feel comfortable making any changes. So that being said, we can table it. I can call Jim, and if there's something that we can add or take away, I can even call Alyssa or even call Jeff. He's the co-captain over there, so it's up to you guys, whatever you guys want to do. It doesn't sound like everybody's comfortable, so I just want to make sure that everybody's comfortable. I'm not changing any language in it.
So what would be the worst if we approve this?
You're giving-
It looks like we still have a bailout with regards to final designs and funding, which still need to be approved by the select board of the town prior to implementation.
Right, but you also don't waste someone's time and money doing a whole bunch more if you don't intend to do the project. I mean, I know that this means that we're
I
kind
don't
of
think
leaning in that
ultimately we'll
direction.
have much of a choice. We'll have to do something. Because I think doing nothing is not be right either. It's a matter of how much can we get included in this.
Is there any burning need this has to be signed? Does anybody know?
Yeah, that's, I don't.
I was under the impression that yes.
I think Jim wanted to get it back to Alyssa because WCA has already signed off on their part. And I think it gives WRC and the Rivers project, I keep using WRC, but they have really been instrumental in putting all of these projects together. So if
We got two choices.
you're not comfortable with it, we'll postpone it. I'll call Jim. We'll gather it up, and if we
We
have
got two choices. You can either withdraw your motion and make the calls, or you can take a vote and see where it goes. You
Yeah,
got two choices.
because these are, also the other thing that, just want to kind of confirm in my own head from the other meetings and all that, is that the solutions, the dam and the bridge in terms of their impact on flooding are independent of each other. Like the dam, has nothing to do with the impact of the bridge, change and vice versa.
Oh, I understood it.
Yeah, that's how I understood it. And they don't even really complement each other.
But we,
But the dam
we
is
can follow up.
upstream, the bridge is downstream of the dam.
We definitely need to follow up and clarify that there's still broader scope than just the dam. However, I read this, it doesn't commit us to anything. It does allow them to keep going.
It doesn't cost us money.
Doesn't cost us money, and potentially down the road will save us significant. How much it would cost to set that bridge up, but it's a big chunk. of
Well,
change.
put it this way, Chris, the one up there on 100, which on 100.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was done 6 years ago.
Yep,
Uh, that was like
That
a
one-
$1.3 million.
Kelton Road, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was before inflation and COVID.
So you're probably looking at 2 to 2.5.
20% of that, that's 400,000 or 500,000. That we potentially could be saving the town match. All they're doing is studying more. We want them to study broader than what this says, or that we interpret this to say. Follow up and make that point.
You know how hard that's gonna be once you sign that? They're not gonna listen to you. If you do it before you sign it, they'll listen. You sign that paper, then go in and ask for changes, they're just gonna brush you off.
Well, it wasn't. Okay, I mean, I wasn't at the meetings. The original scope was much broader than the bridge and the dam. That was the whole point, actually, is that it was a broad assessment of flood resiliency. But if,
For the rivers project.
right,
Yeah, not our D and K study was definitely very limited.
right, by
The
design,
one by,
right, right, so, some of it got translated. Between the D and K study and this study, people got confused or what's happened, but.
It is very specific to the bridge, to the town, to us signing off to allow Rivers and WRC to move forward with costing, estimating, that kind of thing. It does not include anything above
right,
the dam. It doesn't even include the dam. I mean, this document is for the select board because of the bridge. And I'm not even sure we're the right people to sign this. This is like a state aid highway, so I'm not even sure.
oh, well, yeah, I just saw that too. Yeah, so maybe we're out of the
Maybe
picture.
we're not the people.
Is it state aid highway? Is there separate funding or?
Every time something happens with
Oversight
this
for that?
bridge, it's the state of Vermont, AOT, Mark Pickering and Megan and the whole crew. So I'm not even sure. I think that this was a good faith This was a good faith effort to let the Rivers Project know that we were interested in following up, irregardless of the D and K study, to allow them to do more studying and modeling, and maybe D and K got it right, maybe D and K didn't get it right, maybe the cost is 1.2, maybe the cost is 10.2. I think what the point of this was to get the select board, being that this is kind of our, quote, our bridge, whereas the dam is the WCA's property.
Right, so
So that's,
them do some
that's
studying.
how I read it. I'm just,
Okay.
I don't think it's committing us to anything, but you are very correct in saying that this is very specific. This is a very specific document. I'm not prepared to change it. And if anyone wants to change it, then I say we postpone this and we add some information, add some details to it to make it correct the first time around. I think Denny's right. You won't get a second nibble at it.
All right, well, I've made a motion. Move on. I think we're clear on our confusion.
Yeah,
All
we're
right,
clear enough.
we can't take and leave the table with a motion in a second. Somebody has to withdraw and the seconder has to approve it. If we're gonna go wait till next time, or if you want to vote,
I'd like to vote.
Yeah, and I'll,
all those in favor,
Aye.
aye,
guess you guys approved it.
we did.
Sign away. Here you go.
Stop signing this. Jim should be here for this one too.
Jim should have been here for this one because we're at least zoomed in.
Yeah, you did a good job. I think not signing it would just delay the inevitable.
Okay,
For the Lawrence Hill Road stop sign, that is just some information. The top portion is an email that I received in May from Mark Pickering about the stop sign. Jim contacted him after he found that statute. That he said that he had a statute, which I can't find. He may have just printed it off and now I can't find it. I don't think he emailed it to me. When he's back in town, I can get it again. I'll ask him. And then he had also left a message for Mark Pickering to call him just to follow up. And that was the last email on the bottom that I got from Jim saying that he just hasn't heard from him, but to keep it on the agenda.
Yeah, but we need to postpone it.
Yeah, I don't think,
Clearly, there's nothing.
yeah, we're not in a position to talk about this.
Yeah.
Until we know if we have a choice.
It doesn't look like we do. Mark Pickering is very clear that it, when given the choice between a class 3 town road and
But Jim,
a class 2 main road, class 3 gets
He
the
did have
sign.
that statute.
Jim found a statute and got back to someone from
Mhm.
the state. I thought he had heard
He
back.
had left a message for this man.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
We need to wait till Jim's here because this.
yeah, but
doesn't
you
make
also
sense.
have to be careful. Because you're talking class 2 and class 3 highways here, and we get funding to repave them. And if you can't change the class of that road, you're gonna stand a chance of losing your funding to pave up through there.
Right. Well, I think that was part of the discussion. He wants to get clarity out of the state. So
Yeah, I think we discussed that enough.
we need more.
Clarity is good.
All right. We've discussed the EMD.
I think we already did, didn't we?
I think so. Generator update.
Yep, there it is. Yep, so generators in.
I want to give you a round of
it-
applause.
No, it works. Okay, I haven't,
I still want to applaud.
Does it work?
it did, oh, yeah,
Okay, it
it
works.
does. They did a shutdown test and all that.
Okay.
Every Wednesday at 10 o'clock,
Perfect.
it cycles
Does a
and
little-
does a little test run. And-
He wants to give you a round of applause.
Kim, are you staying for the credit card discussion?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, good.
And, let's see, I don't think there's really any outstanding issues, because whether it's been inspected or not, I don't know. I don't know if that's up for us to worry about, other than, I haven't seen an inspection. They shouldn't bill us. They haven't sent us the final bill, have they, Kim? Oh, it is, okay. So they wouldn't do that unless, but I wasn't here for an inspection. in terms of electrical, but I can't imagine that being an issue.
So are we discussing whether to have? a
Yes,
service contract?
so the only thing left to go is, service contract.
Mhm.
I'm assuming, I'm the kind of person that said, I'm gonna dance with the date I brought, kind of thing. And so I think that if they put it in, installed it, tested it and all that, we should at least give them the first year
Mhm.
of maintenance on the thing. I can't
They didn't
remember if
come
the
with a
price,
warranty?
1 year.
Well, that's
One year
saying
and
one
one
year
day.
after it's
366 days.
Yeah. But that's only if it breaks or something like that. I think I haven't seen the warranty. It's in the materials that I think maybe Kim has, so I'll have to dig that up.
Okay,
But we don't even have to do this. We can wait on that if you want, but,
It's entirely up to you, it's your project.
I don't understand what the fee is for. Is it for 1 + 2?
no, it's for two inspections a year. So after the first year, where everything is already theoretically warranted for the first year, then you get, a service,
Mhm.
and then, every 6 months, basically, is what it amounts to.
This really is for the second year.
This should be for the second year,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So we shouldn't
Well,
need it.
wait a minute,
That's not what
wait a
it
minute.
says, yeah.
That's not what it says.
No, it doesn't. I agree. So let me,
I
let
mean,
me
I think-
call them and I'll talk to them.
Yeah.
We're gonna take. it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now we get Jennifer and Leo.
Leah, welcome to the select board. Busy evening.
Leo, put it on your calendar for entertainment. second and fourth Tuesday.
He wants to be in bed by now.
Plus, it shouldn't be from July to June either. They didn't get it installed and operating until
Right.
November.
last
Yeah,
month. Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
So I'll take care of it.
Thanks, Howie.
Yeah.
I will still give you a round of
Yeah,
applause
yeah,
because it
I'm not
worked.
there.
And
I'm not
every
there yet.
10 o'clock on Wednesday, we'll all be excited when we hear the purr.
We do have
Okay,
a little bit of this.
okay, sorry.
This is the same old, closing Park Street, so
Mhm.
I see no problem with it. How come you just put rain date? Could be snow date.
No, because snow is okay.
Snow is good.
When we had our mud bog several years ago, we decided that the next year we better have a rain date because the only thing we really can't do is we can't do a mud bog. The fireworks still went off that year, but it was such low attendance, it was really sad.
So why does the fire department have to put this in? I thought,
Well, that's a great question, because we do everything associated with this event now. We staff about,
you got,
I put about 26 to 20, about 26 people on the street that day.
Yeah.
And help coordinate everything, not me personally, but
Mhm.
I and my team, and we're
well, all the road control and all that. other
road
kind of stuff.
control. We're gonna charge for the hot chocolate though this year. Be ready because I do have the recipe figured out. But a couple years ago, well, before the flood, we just decided Vermont Country Store had been kind of on the backside supporting us, and they give us a lot of staff support. For the signs, we're gonna have it's Weston bt.net. I can email it to you all, but anyway, it's got the old stuff on there now. We're updating the artwork from last year. We're gonna have maps, we're gonna have et cetera, et cetera. So I guess they let me be part of the committee, and then they heard that I had a kind of a big mouth, and I made them get porta potties because they wanted to make it a family event. And I said, well, instead of having, bless their hearts, but instead of having the little school make some sausage and pepper sandwiches, how about if we have food people come in and make food and have the little school do arts and crafts, and since they take care of kids, have them do like arts and crafts for kids, et cetera. So we've made it a bigger event. In fact, I should go to Yankee Magazine, November issue. We got featured. Weston got featured, and it's a good way to just make us look good and bring a little spirits.
Yeah,
So
great.
my concern is that we had this discussion and we were perfectly okay with closing down Park Street, but that we were reluctant to close down Lawrence Hill Road.
Mhm.
And closing down both is a problem.
No, we're not gonna close down.
Okay, so explain, it says right here.
I know, so I will explain. So last year, we got approval for closing of Park Street, and because of the way the traffic flowed, the fire chief, who's ultimately responsible for the safety of this particular event, ended up doing what we're going to do again this year. We closed the section right here in front, and then we let,
It's the way it was last year.
Right.
again.
and we let Park Street flow. And
Two-way traffic.
Right, and I said, listen, I said, this is not what we got approved for, but I mean, I made my, it's me, right? So I said, I don't approve this on, and he said, but listen, Jen, this is what I'm going to do. And I said, all right, I said, let's see how it works, kind of thing.
There was one glitch I want to add to that last year, and
It's okay, no, be upfront, I appreciate it.
Parking, there was two guys that came early, they used that area to park their cars, which really created much more of a hazard because you really needed eyes in four directions to make
But,
sure.
but even
people
with
weren't
that,
coming
y'all
through.
managed it
Mhm.
just fine.
It did
just
work,
fine.
but
Yeah.
if we would like just to put up a sign or something, just saying it's closed to parking on that.
Yeah,
Um,
just rope it off.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
early.
You're gonna control that a little bit more
All
strictly.
right,
But-
So-
I mean, the signs up there that, and it was just two guys that parked. and
People-
parked early.
People don't read signs.
No.
Well, it's the best we could do is with tape or something, like a caution tape that we could put that's just.
Well,
to
the town has
indicate that there'd be no
barriers,
parking there.
So be very clear, what are you closing down from when to when?
From
Just Lawrence Hill now,
Just only Lawrence Hill.
from Route 100
Mhm.
To the
to
fountain.
the
Right
fountain.
here, exactly,
Okay.
with somebody standing right there
Yep,
at the fountain to move the barricade for the horse and buggies. And or any, if we have fire department, well, obviously Santa's gonna come in, we have a different Santa this year. But anyway, Santa's gonna come in on the fire engine, so there's gonna be somebody standing there. It's one of my crosswalks.
mhm,
The issue we've also found is the last few years, when they've had those summertime programs at the library had their program, et cetera, they have found that parents are not watching their children at all.
I agree.
So this year, because we don't have access to the Fight House, last year we used Layla's for the children's activities, worked great. Well, Layla's is there now. We don't have access to that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the little school
Yeah.
for little school kid stuff, and we're gonna also have access to the playground. We're gonna move the porta potties down a little bit so they're not here. We're not gonna pull your electric, we're gonna pull the little school's electric because they got fancy porta potties with the heat and all that other stuff. And so this is gonna be where our travel is right here. And I really, we have a zero sum safety thing. We cannot have something happen. So it's going to be green centered, but it's also gonna be at the little school for the activities for the children. We just have to be ultra aware because parents are just really not watching their kids that day.
The green and the mill yard.
And then we're also going to put somebody, there's actually a crosswalk, we're gonna put somebody over on the other side of the green. So that will be our second crossing, because they're gonna still have for our Mansour, it's gonna be open with the cookie decorating. And then, I don't think you were there, but whoever was there down at Route 100, we're also gonna control Route 100 so that our pedestrians can get across that
Yeah,
section.
there's
So I've got,
one sectioned off one crosswalk that's, clearly,
right, so
we'd see what's going.
yeah, so we're gonna have those three areas, and even though we're gonna close Lawrence Hill, I'm still gonna leave somebody here. Also, we're gonna put the food trucks where they were last year.
Just be clear where that was.
Oh, on this end of the green,
Mhm.
which is also another reason to close off Lawrence Hill right here, because
Yeah,
then you have
across
this,
from the little school and the post
Right.
office corner.
because then you have a visibility issue, especially with little people, and then you're talking about the change of the daylight, et cetera. Activities are gonna go on till about, I think it's 4 o'clock on the green, and then I move a couple of my people. Fireworks are being set off at a different place because we didn't have
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. So we're also gonna stage engine 6, which is the size of a pickup, the pickup truck size thing. Plus the fireworks truck are going to be, I already have permission for this, in the parking lot behind the Christmas shop. And we're gonna use Andrew Parker.
Harper, yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna use his backyard. We're gonna sneak right through the trees so my guys and gals don't have to schlep stuff. Heaven forbid, we have 3 feet of snow. And then if there are any changes, like we need town trucks to go through, we need, obviously the fire truck's gonna go around once when they have Santa. I'm gonna have people you know, we have a traffic cone. I'm gonna have somebody standing here too, and we'll move our cones aside. We're gonna borrow South Londonderry's got, I don't know, 200 cones and a bunch of,
Yeah, they've been really
Stop.
helpful last year. so-
I guess I don't understand. I feel like Park Street closing gives you safety from the green all the way up that road. Mark, Jeff Brown and Mark are the only ones that really have to come and go. And
Well,
instead,
they're
we're-
involved in the things. so they-
Right.
Yeah.
so closing that off gets you from the green
we don't
over.
wanna close both of them, Lisa.
No, I got it.
They
I
wanna
just,
be able to use the
and-
little school.
And we don't wanna close both of them. So to protect the children, I gotta have Lawrence Hill closed because the parents are just not watching the children, and that's where our main thoroughfare is going to be, right through there.
It worked well.
It really worked well, I'm
and-
surprised.
And everybody was on sync
it's,
from our end.
it's a bad idea for the fact that not everybody's coming to do this. Lawrence Hill Road is the access up and through and around, and it's the main access, trucks, trailers, things like that, that you're now asking to double vehicle coming and going on Park Street.
Oh, you're talking about. on that
You have to, you
particular-
can't, yeah, we can't close it down to regular traffic, so I'm not gonna, we're so close to the event, I think that we have anything to work with, but I really would prefer that we close Park Street and leave Lawrence Hill, this section of Lawrence Hill Road. I understand you've already set up for little school, so like I'm not gonna undo a problem there, but that's a problem. This is,
But we could control traffic, say a truck did come through, we
Mhm.
could
We could
control
let-
it.
we
You know,
could let a truck
there's
go
enough,
through.
there's enough communications going back and forth. We could control it so that if a big rig comes through, everything stops.
Yeah.
Would you like us to notify, I hear your concern, would you like us to notify the citizens on that section of Lawrence Hill? We always notify the fire
no,
department.
I think the issue is that whenever anyone else comes to us for this, we're always open to closing Park Street. It just makes sense. It keeps everything sort of in that quadrant and stop messing with the main route for people coming and going.
I know.
But
Yeah, but I see her point. Parents
Right,
taking care of the kids.
right.
And, you know, you don't want them crossing.
And if we could use the playhouse for the bathrooms, if we could use then we would kind of shove our tents and everything else down the other end, which we did
Mhm,
previously. But we can't use the playhouse. So we're going to use the bathrooms and the food, and that's where our stuff is going to be.
Right,
You know what I mean?
I understand. I'm not gonna throw a wrench in it. I'm just saying, I would prefer Park Street be the one that you close and figure it out for
Well,
next
Lisa,
year.
Okay, yeah,
Maybe in the future, once they get the
Mhm.
playhouse back up and
Yeah.
running, they can go back to the alternative.
We'd
Yep.
love to do that. I just don't want to get permission to do one thing and then do something different. That's not fair either. That's not in good.
I'm
faith.
not changing anything.
No, I meant like last year when,
do we need a motion to approve this? or-
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this request to close Lawrence Hill Road on December 7th,
from,
from 10:30 AM to 6 PM.
Second.
time of the trucks.
hold on.
Sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead,
we're
go
doing
ahead.
Fireworks are supposed to go off at 5:15. So that just gives us enough time. It is, and don't forget, it is dark then. at that
I know.
point. So that gives us enough time to let our people go walk back to their parking areas and stuff, safety. And we're gonna give out those flashy wristband things again for the kids, hopefully.
All those in favor?
All right,
I,
Okay,
thank you.
now we get down to the hot top,
Which one was that?
credit card.
Ah, yes.
So we have the
Oh.
grant.
Thank you. You don't want your name on the credit card, Leo?
No.
And congratulations.
And have to sit through this
Yeah.
and ask for permission?
No.
next time, we recommend bringing gifts, food, cookies,
Coffee.
coffee.
Thanks for
Thank you
being
all.
Thanks,
present.
guys.
Leo.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for being
Have a good
generous.
day. Well, good
We can't
evening.
even afford to get him his own shirt. He's got.
I know, still got LaRue's.
So, Kenny, we had the grant next. Do you want to deal
Oh.
with that or you want to?
No, we'll do, I skipped over the grant. The grant is something we got a little time till the end of December. I don't know if Jeff has had a to look at it and review it and see whether it's something I'd like his say on it before we go plan.
I agree.
That makes sense?
Absolutely.
All right, sorry, for skipping over that. Credit card.
So just, someone's gonna follow up with him to
I'll
do
send
this?
it.
You'll send, perfect. Thank you. I meant to look at the email that came from the banker, but can you summarize that for us? There's two options. One's got a lot of paperwork and will take a lot of time. Has some advantages. The other is just creating a separate account.
Right.
This, you weren't here for the beginning of this, so Jeff and the other people don't want their names and social security numbers attached to the credit card. Personal privacy. Almond, I guess, was okay because his social security number and everything attached to it. And so we asked him to look into what our options were, just like get a town corporate card or whatever. Can't really do that. He put us in touch with the banker from what bank?
Our bank, the TD Bank.
TD Bank. He came back with two options. And why don't you summarize those?
So you have two options. One is a credit card. It takes more time. It'll take a couple months, 2 to 3. The second option would be to set up another bank account that has its own debit card. And then they would have a town debit. I would rather, I know it's a hindrance for the town garage right now, true, but I would rather go with a credit card because I think it has more security to it. A debit card to me just seems like you're handing somebody, if you put $5,000 or $10,000 in this, then I have one more account that I have to get the receipts for, have to then come back to you to have it replenished. Credit card, they just put the purchases on it up to whatever limit, and I think this had a limit of 20,000, but it could be less if you wanted it to be. And for the credit card, you have more control. You also have more buyer protection. You have there are, I think, I will redo what I wrote to Chris, which was it doesn't have the same fraud protection or buyer protections. Oftentimes debit cards have a daily limit on them. We've run into that ourselves. I feel like you're handing somebody cash when you hand them debt because they can use it up to whatever is in that bank account without any oversight. And then it is another bank account for me to manage, and it adds another layer of complication to it because the way we would be using, they had used half, and now we have to replenish it. Whereas with a credit card, you have fraud protection that's very, you have buyer protection. And it's not the same as cash. You know, there's just better coverage, I feel like, on a credit card. And I know it's should have been done months ago, but they can get it done and it will take a couple months if you want a credit card. And then that just becomes another bill, just like we're processing a credit card tonight.
Whose information gets put on the credit card?
I think what they're saying is it can be the town credit card. Now you spoke with them and that's what it indicates to me. It would be a credit program for the town. There's a minimum limit of 20,000, but the system administrator can allocate however much anybody gets. So I currently have mine tied to my social security number, and it's a limit of 2,000. Almond had his at 3. Once upon a time, we had 10, and neither of us would go with that, so we dropped it. So you can say who will have access to this town credit card and what limit you want them to have. And we ran into a problem with Almond only having $3,000 last year. We had to use his personal. So the town garage, whoever's got it, needs, you know, a higher limit threshold than whatever we've got here. Shauna should have one. I didn't go down that rabbit hole of America yet, knowing we have to do this. So I think it's easier to add users that way. And then you know who's got what, you have the receipts, and we're paying it as a bill. It has not been abused. The
Well, if
debit-
the town cruise is happy with it being town credit card and none of their personal information on it,
Mhm.
and I would suggest at least a $10,000 limit because of the price of tires and whatever
Right.
you've got. Find out if you made a phone call. Could it be increased to 20,000 with a phone call from you?
Well, I think it would be from, likely to be an online system that I could just, if you tell me they've got a $15,000 purchase and it needs upped, then we just go in and we change that. So it's internal control. We don't have to, like right now, when I tried to increase almonds, they wouldn't let me because they didn't have enough history on us for Bank of America. And I thought, 200 years of good history ought to be enough. Apparently. So they're very difficult to get a credit from Bank of America, and you have a very big limitation on what you can get. Whereas if we were setting it up as a town program, then you have the control and the knowledge of who's got what. And you say, garage number one person has 10 grand and Shauna has 5 grand and I'm happy with 2 grand, whatever, you know? I just think that's,
Run it by the people who will be using it. If they're satisfied with it.
they are satisfied.
They have been waiting to hear this
Yeah, that-
information, so
that's
this
what
is,
they want.
yep.
Let's
that's what
have a
they want.
motion then.
Oh, it's motion.
Yeah, I looked at Kim, I'm like, "Good."
I don't know.
Well, whatever we just said, I
Right.
move we do that.
Option one.
Yes,
I'll make a motion that we seek a town credit card through TD Bank for the treasurer, the select board admin, and the town garage.
second.
Further discussion. All those in favor?
All
All
right,
Aye.
Okay,
good job.
Kim count.
I know.
number 15 is FYI.
Mhm.
At least they're working out there, finally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they'll be wrapping up, I think, maybe, well, not wrapping up, but they'll be wrapping up their tearing apart stuff Thursday, Friday. I think Jim said they were hooking up to the bridge. That's might be a bit premature, but, you know, it's getting
All right,
exciting.
we have SO 21.
Oh, yeah, let me look at that.
Okay, yeah, I'll do payroll. So, I move we approve the Weston Town payroll check warrant number 21 in the amount of 22,636.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
There you go, Lisa.
Then we're ready for the second one.
Hang on 1 second.
Don't get in a hurry.
Hold on.
I don't wanna lose my
No, this
page.
is the one I want to look at.
Yeah,
I guess it's behind here. I don't know why I'm looking beyond it. Okay.
State
Hmm.
accepts some cash in that. $1 million.
Hopefully you can do something to cut that number.
Go up there. I better get a beer out of it.
First
You get a
fiscal
coffee and a
year.
cookie.
They don't give me an office
No.
or much money, I'll tell you that.
Or a staff. yeah.
Or a staff.
What were you thinking? All right.
You don't
okay, I'm
get
good.
Shauna.
No, Shauna's
No.
over
I
there.
don't wanna see her doing
Yeah,
any
she,
state
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
yeah, if she leaves, we're in trouble.
Okay. Oh, this kind of makes sense. It just, I noted that, HB charged us $500 to secure the tanks to the building. That was separate from the generator, but we did ask them to do that.
Yeah,
That's a little excessive.
that is a bit much, but,
I'll yell at them, but I don't think
I
it'll matter.
don't think we have any choices since it's already done. Is that what this is? The five,
That's 509, yeah.
509, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
But I don't think they charge us a lot of the extra work
right, and
What
And-
extra?
on the generator. It's planned, it was bid to be the generator on this side of the building.
They made
Put
it for
on that one.
fucking tank.
Yeah.
They don't miss a trick.
Yeah.
What do you want? Lisa?
no, I was just gonna remind Howie that that is part of our ARPA funds, so 500 hurts, but it was, we have it there. It's for those kind of things, so. Okay,
Mhm.
Who wants to read this ridiculous number?
go ahead, Chris.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the check warrant report number 21 for $1,074,000, $683.19
For accounts payable.
for accounts payable.
Second,
Discussion,
pay it,
all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
I,
Boy, Howie, the bigger the number, the happier you seem to get spending that money.
Love the money.
There's a third one.
Here you go.
Oh, yeah. I need to see the bill on this one.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, never mind. I see it.
And that's the highway fund?
No,
This is for the,
this is for flood. This is one of the last.
for the air machine at the firehouse.
Yep.
But we're on the 34,000 one. Is that what we're looking
Yes.
Okay to pay, okay. You want me to make that motion?
Sure.
Hopefully.
Move that, we approve the payment of the invoice from Municipal Emergency Services for the fire department's equipment in the amount of $34,631.
Second,
Discussion,
Pay it,
all in favor?
aye.
right?
Aye, sorry. That feels like the right number.
Well, they gave us an original quote of 35,000 plus,
Okay,
and then there was a charge they didn't, there was an site inspection of about $1,500 they weren't charging us for in the final invoice, so it's 34.
It actually went down.
Yeah, it went down.
Oh, good, that covers the securing of the tanks.
There you go.
different pot of money.
Yeah. That's funny.
Money's money.
All comes out of the time.
Yep.
One way or the other.
Okay, yeah, there's something odd about this, but 35,631, and we paid 34,631.
We did. But you're supposed to have the quote on the back, the one we were paying.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Old new business, anybody got anything on their own business?
I think we kind of covered most of it, I think.
No, yes, I do. It's old new business. I have two possible employees, possible for road crew, 2 applicants. So since Jim is gone, can I get you to sit down and do an interview with me?
Thursday or Friday or after deer season, when that during deer season.
I forgot. It's like stick season and then deer season. Thursday, Friday, and then you're done. All right. I don't know if I can do it Thursday, Friday, so. I guess I'm
But
gonna have to
Jim,
pick
Might
a
do it
different
some
person.
night,
Yeah, Jim will be back.
Might do it some night,
Okay.
but not Monday nights, because that's bingo night at club.
Bingo, then
You
there's
know,
the deer.
you're not the only one. that has to step-
A busy schedule. I'm trying to get into your schedule. Yeah, let me line it up. If I can't work it out for Thursday, Friday, then would you say Jim will be back Sunday?
I don't, well, soonish.
Okay, well, I don't, it doesn't have to be Jim. It just can't be just me. So I'll have to pull one of you guys.
Yeah, put it, just email all of us and see who can. jump
Yeah.
in.
Sounds great.
Yeah, and yeah. We can probably make that happen. And one last piece of old business is personnel policy. Have we got anything
I
back
just got
from?
back today, with
Okay.
red lines, and I put it on the agenda for the 26th, but I will send it out tomorrow.
Okay, good. So we can see and we can finalize.
Preview, was it horribly marked up?
No, Not too
Really?
bad.
Okay, great. Ugh,
You happy, so glad.
I didn't get an invoice for it, but I got the red
okay.
line.
Really. That's all we can
That's
ask
a
for
different problem.
today. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Nice.
I just wanted scheduling. I just wanted to make sure that everyone, or I would have enough people for a meeting on the 26th. It is the week of Thanksgiving, so I just didn't know who travels, who doesn't.
Yeah, I'd be here.
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. And then December 3rd, we just said a meeting for the town plan.
7 PM.
Yeah. I'm assuming no on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I think we need to move that one.
We just usually forget that,
Okay.
so just sign some paperwork.
And then I know this is just jumping, but for January to start scheduling like budget stuff. Like right after New Year's, it's just weird because it falls on Wednesday, so it doesn't give such a good time, you know?
I think we can take a poll and see who's gonna be away for New Year's, and if there's too many gonna be away, start budget on the 6th.
Because our meeting's not till the 14th, so I thought, you know.
We'll start budgeting. Why don't we just start budgeting on the 6th?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea early and all that, because I'm gonna be taking off towards the end of January. Through
Really?
February.
I think the 6th is late. Didn't we do like 3rd, 4th? and
Well, it's just
5th
hard
last
because
time? Yeah,
it's, Wednesday is just a weird,
yeah.
because we would,
We'll be more motivated to get it done.
We usually have to have it done Monday, January.
Oh, yeah, I figured, and yeah, just to call in, stuff like that.
that's
Amazing how long it takes.
Oh, no, Well, it's
You've
either
had
this-
it easy.
No, this one isn't gonna be easy. There's a lot of changes that we're gonna see this coming year.
I can remember the day when there's a spreadsheet put
Papers,
out
yeah.
over here, every nut and bolt was counted, and it took about 15 meetings to get it. So, you've had it easy.
Fair enough.
Okay, we don't mind having it.
Yeah, right. I'm not
It's
I'm
not
not
like we're
knocking an
doing-
easy meeting.
You know, I can make it real easy.
No, don't feel
I can make it real easy.
Just saying, we appreciate you and all the effort you're making and making it easy to us.
Good
We
job.
just
Kim.
level one.
Good job, Kim. Keep talking, keep talking.
No.
Beautiful, sounds great.
I guess
All right.
we're adjourned.
Thank you.
We are,
Okay, thank you.
thank you all.
Don't leave
I
without,
won't,
okay.